So February is a month that has a couple of anniversaries surrounding my father, my late father. Coming up on February 20th would have been his 71st birthday, but he passed away from cancer back on February 1st of 2014, so just had the 5-year anniversary of that date here recently, and been thinking about him a lot lately. And the poem I'm going to read now, I wrote about 6 months after he passed away, but never shared it or sent it out to any journals, just because it was too poignant for me still. And I think recently I came back across it, and so sent it out finally, and it appears in this Alien Buddha Press anthology that just showed up right after the anniversary, so it's still sort of fresh on my mind. It's about the very end. It's called Some Poems Are More Serious Than Others. Dad was high on morphine. Well, high is the wrong word. Dad was dosed up on morphine. His last words having already been spoken the day before, when he talked about needing more strength with a weak voice, desperate to keep fighting, while sitting beside Mom and I at the kitchen table. He'd still be alive another 40 hours. Now he was in a hospice room, taken there earlier that day because my mom had lost confidence that she could care for him any longer, and the stress of him withering away had finally worn her down. My sister and I were by his side as his arms flailed wildly, thrashing about as his organs began their collapse. We each held a hand and told him how much we loved him. Then we left him there alone in that unfamiliar place to sleep alone, alone in that awful state. How could I have not stayed? That question will haunt me until the day I die. We returned him home the next day, basically in a coma, breathing like a machine, his lungs being the last part of his body to give out, which was ironic since it was his lungs where the cancer had originally formed. The family stayed by his side that night, keeping a vigil. We watched VHS tapes from the early years of our family all through the night. Powerful memories of all the love we had shared together. The birthdays, the Christmas mornings, the time Charles dumped warm water on Dad's head in the carport as a joke from Aunt Jan signifying she was buying him a new hot water heater. Friends and family came by the next day to say their goodbyes. Grown men wept for their friend, and I realized how special he had been to so many different people. Dad just kept breathing in, out, in a steady rhythm until it altered. It was Judy by his side in that moment. She called us all into the room. We gathered around as Dad gave up the ghost. As the final breath left his flesh, he focused his eyes for the first time in 2 days, looked straight at me, smiled, and then passed. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you is all I could say as I kissed his forehead, prayed he rest in peace. Thank you, thank you, thank you is all I can say right now. That and I miss you.